inner world is a reflection of our outer world, but we didn't even think about our inner world. There's so much in there. We need to organize our mind. Our mind is really like that. And we just like suppress it. Oh, I don't want to feel that. I don't want to think about that. Let me go on the phone. Oh, I don't want to think about that. Let me drink. Oh, I don't want to think about that. Let me just work. Let me eat. We're running away from ourselves, Even when you open yourself up and ask yourself, what's something that I need to subtract from my life? And have the openness and courage to ask yourself that. Something will come to you. And what I suggest is working on habits one by one. My meditation teacher taught me that. A lot of times we want to change things like all at once. And there's nothing the universe, the truth, cannot heal. And unfortunately, we've been told these kind of things, Avi, that like, that's just the way it is. That's how you're going to be. That's what the world wants you to think, brother. You know, it's proven now that SSRIs don't even work, which is antidepressant medication.
If I was to ask you a perfect question you haven't thought of or you've been thinking of, what would that be?
We already touched on it, but
what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 1% Podcast. As always, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for showing support. And thank you guys for showing love on every single episode. Wherever you get your podcast from, Apple, Spotify, make sure to leave a like on this video as well. Leave a comment, subscribe, like if you are new. I have a guest with me today and somebody who I've become friends with since the last time you guys saw him. He's been a friend. He's been a mentor. Blake Guss.
Avi.
We are here for part 2. How you doing?
Doing great. How you doing? As you've been saying.
I guess I really wanted to start off this episode. Last time, I did some research on a lot of various topics that we went into. And what I want to know is if somebody's watching this, this is the first time they're seeing you and they're watching this channel, if you could give them a description of what you do, what would that be?
What I would say is all the answers that you're looking for are already within yourself. So all that I do is help individuals, and I also go to companies and teach them. But let's talk about individuals. I help individuals to unlock those answers that they're looking for. Whatever thing they want to get to here, whatever's blocking them from getting there, I will help them to find that and also let go of that through what helped me. I can teach them how to do that through meditation. Yes.
I'll just turn you up just a little bit. I don't want to do it while you're speaking.
Sure.
So as you said, we have all the answers and somebody is trying to find those answers. If they're coming to you, what would be the first step that you would tell them to go?
Sure. So as I've studied and learned, all of our problems, I believe, come from the same place. The place before we're born, we're coming from a perfect place. But then once we come into this world, we start to live inside our own mind's world. And this mind's world that we have, that's what creates all the issues. That we don't actually live in the world, but we live in our own self-centered, lonely mind's world, which is separate from the actual world. And that mind's world, or you can call it the human mind, is very simply made of everything that we accumulated from the life that we lived. We also have habits that we inherited from our ancestors. Like even if you never met your parents, there's things that you have in your DNA that can have blockages. And also within our body, as we live our life, our body stores all this energy. So if you work on healing and letting go of the things you took in from the life you lived, what you got from your ancestors, and the mind of the body, for sure, you're going to unlock the answers within you and return to your true state, who you were born to be.
It seems that from that answer and at least from, some of the work that we've done together in releasing that and throwing away as the sun is one of the practices that I've talked about on this podcast. It seems that we come into this world broken without us wanting to be broken, right? We're coming in so pure with, as you explained it last time as a kid, when you're coming in and you have all this positive energy and you're saying hi to everybody, and then somebody comes along and they say, get out of here. And we come into this world so pure. from the description of what you just said, it doesn't seem so. It doesn't seem that we come in so pure. We come in maybe a little bit broken or a little bit shattered in a way.
For sure, kids come in more pure. Even if you just think about the thoughts, what we work on too is being aware of what kind of thoughts I have, right? If you think about all the thoughts that you had today, if we really sat down and worked through it, right, through meditation or even through journaling, you went through from the time you woke up today up until now, all the thoughts that came up. There's going to be a lot of stuff, right? Maybe about money, maybe about relationships, maybe about your future. When you were 5 years old, do you think you had the same amount of thought? You would have those same thoughts and concepts?
Absolutely not.
No way. No. So the things we inherit is a lot, but for sure, kids are more pure, to go back to it. I think actually kids are people say, who's the most spiritual people sometimes? And they think of like a guy in a robe, like wearing like beads, and like, I'm not judgmental. There's nothing wrong with that. But actually kids, when I think about it, kids are actually the most spiritual people. It's something I think about a lot. They're just very open, right? Very pure. They don't care. They aren't looking for outside validation. If something happens, they get in a fight with their friend, they get over it very quickly when you're really young. And then eventually it happens a bunch of times and you close off your heart, right? Mm-hmm. But so you are still more pure as a kid.
Yeah, because when I think about it, it's the adults are always telling the kids they never think that they're right in a way, where they're sometimes operating out of intuition, they're operating out of the spiritual realm, and the parents are always right. The adult is always right. The adult always has the last thing to say, and which most of the time is true. But then there's the certain times where a kid says something and we still disregard it because we believe that they don't know anything or they don't know anything about this life or anything about this world. But sometimes the things that at least I hear a kid say, it's like, wow, that's kind of enlightening. Actually, it's kind of enlightening. It might be not the best way of direct answer, but it's a good thought that we can build on. And they don't say it with any care in the world. If you stink, they'll tell you stink. They'll tell you stink.
Honestly.
And I don't know. It's something weird that when we're children, at least when I can go back, I was a pretty direct child. I, struggled with anger issues. I struggled with all of these things. And it's weird to see how we don't regard a child's response to certain things. And I guess I would like to know, if somebody's listening to this and they're like a first-time parent and their kids are saying certain things, how could they be able to receive their messages without kind of disregarding them in a way?
I'll say for me, I've learned so much from kids. So that's what I can say about it. When I've helped kids meditate, it's amazing how much insights they have, how many insights that kids have, and how they follow meditation is much better than adults. Much better. Actually, so in meditation, visualizing going to the universe, right? In meditation. I was helping a kid. He was pumped to come to the class. He wore a Buzz Lightyear thing to go to the universe in his mind, right? And he was just so excited and he was really there. And then when we let go of the things, kids still have a lot of things to let go of too. That's what people say sometimes. Oh, you're 10 years old. What do you have to stress about? That's something they say. But actually, like you were just saying, when you were a kid, you had anger or different kind of things. They have a lot of things in their mind. They have a lot of pictures in their mind of things that happen. They let go so much better than adults, right? Because in meditation, we let go. They don't think about, what's going to happen when I let go of this? Or they instantly change and their face instantly changes too. And they can change their habits so quickly. It's really amazing to see because they're closer to the source.
Yeah. So for somebody that's, listening to this and maybe has had a little bit of childhood trauma, but they're trying to figure out how to let go. And we've talked about on the podcast before to throw away or let it go. And we talked a little bit about an example, but it's so much easier said than done. As I went through that process, it's still hard to this day to kind of let go and release and throw to the sun, as you've taught me. If somebody's listening to this and they're still holding on to some trauma, either a relationship, childhood development, or something that they're just trying to get over within themselves, how would you tell them to do so?
I'd first say, have patience with yourself. And I even hear that in yourself. Have patience with yourself. It's very similar to a physical transformation. It's not something that happens overnight to heal those things. So sometimes we expect that, right? We wouldn't expect that if I'm 300 pounds and I want to get to be 180 and in good shape, let's say. Has there been people who have done that before? Yes. Has there been people who were so down bad, trauma, depression, suicidal? Me. And is there other people who have been like that and then found a fulfilling, happy life? Yes. It's the same kind of transformation though. But we expect, like, if I'm 300 pounds and I go to the gym for 1 week and I'm like, yo, like, where's my six pack? Why don't I look like that? Right? It's not how it works, right? So, and I would also say a lot of the problem is too, stop trying to do it on your own. Stop trying to do it on your own. I really need to learn that. But the best people in the world, in whatever avenue you look at, business, sports, do they have coaches? Mm-mm. They have many coaches, actually, because they can see something you can't see, and they can help you, right? So you need to, your ego is not your amigo, right? We said that before. And the ego, especially as a man, I was like that. Oh, I can figure out, I can do it on my own. Like, I can heal my trauma on my own. I suggest looking at someone who's got out of it and then seeing what they did to get out of it. And you're going to be able to find that. And please have patience and grace with yourself. I'm sorry for what you went through, but I want to tell you, give you hope that you can let go of it. You can get to a place where it doesn't bother you, where you can think about it, where you can talk about it, but it doesn't affect this present moment. And you can just know how it was, but it doesn't affect this present moment. You can shift your mind on that, because the universe, the truth, God, whatever you want to call that existence, can heal anything when you're willing to and you have patience and perseverance. Yeah, but the method that we do, that's what helped me to do it completely. Nothing else. I tried a lot of things, but it took patience and perseverance, brother. It's not just a one time, right? Mm-hmm. It's not just even some things to let go of. It's not just even 100 times. If you think you let go of a lot, you need to let go more, right? It's not even my quote. I've heard that quote before. You think you let go a lot? Let go more, So that's what it is. Patience and perseverance with it.
Yeah, sometimes, at least in the self-improvement community, we're always trying to add, we're always trying to do addition, we're always trying to learn, we're always trying to watch the next podcast, we're always trying to add and add and add. But as you told me, the best thing sometimes is the subtraction. Subtract from your life. And maybe at a point where you can add someday, sometimes the best addition is subtraction. So if you're trying to improve yourself in meditation, in just your spiritual development, the best thing that you can do is subtract the negative thoughts, subtract the people, subtract your conscious thought pattern, whatever it is that's how you can sometimes even level up and self-improve, is focusing on the subtraction.
I couldn't agree anymore. I love that. I love that you remember that we talked about that. Even something to ask yourself as you're listening, whoever's listening to this, and for you, even when you open yourself up and ask yourself, what's something that I need to subtract from my life? And have the openness and courage to ask yourself that. Something will come to you. And what I suggest is working on habits one by one. My meditation teacher taught me that. A lot of times we want to change things like all at once. I want to quit being addicted to the phone. I want to quit smoking. I want to quit drinking. I want to quit, And sometimes you can, but one by one. Yeah. And even ask yourself, what's something I'd like to subtract from my life? And Avi, I really believe right now we're in the era of realizing subtraction is everything. The era of trying to add, and especially materially and all those things, there's nothing wrong with that. But we've come to a point where that's not fulfilling us anymore. The ego had a great run, man, but it's over. It's really over. It's been over. For a short period of time, people are awakening and they're starting to realize, like there's something more to this. I'm not satisfied inside, right? Like our ancestors, if your ancestor, Avi, your most direct ancestor from 300 years ago was put into the things you have today. You got running water. You go like this, it comes out. Like, what? You got this thing shower. It comes out. You go into a car. You push the button. What? You got a phone. Water. You just go right there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You want a red sweatshirt tomorrow? Amazon. Send it. You want a cheeseburger right now? Send it. But yet, we're at that level, but we're also at the level of depression, anxiety, addiction, right? And we're trying to solve it from adding. No, we need to subtract. And especially, it's an era too where we're realizing about the importance of the non-material and our inner world. The inner world is a reflection of our outer world, but we didn't even think about our inner world. There's so much in there. We need to organize our mind. Like if we could see what it is, we would know that that's utmost priority.
Mm. And I think even upon the awareness of that, it's some people are gifted with incredible self-awareness, but with the analysis by paralysis, we're aware of it. And something that I heard on this podcast, Jake Moscato said, is that with awareness comes learning. But sometimes when you're aware or when you're super aware, you learn it, right? But you don't apply it. And I guess what I want to know is from you is that we're doing all these, practices, meditation, we're sitting with our thoughts and all of that. And we're aware of all these things, but we don't apply it. For whatever reason, we're unwilling to change. We don't want to change the way because of, number one, how uncomfortable it is. And number two, we don't understand the process of how to get to that thing because we overcomplicate it or overthink it for whatever reason. So would you say that sometimes awareness can be a detriment more than sometimes it can be a positive?
I think awareness is the first step to changing anything. If you're not aware, you can't change it.
Yeah.
It's impossible. You have to be aware first. So let's do this then. What is something that you specifically, if it's okay to ask you, that you've had that happen in your life? Like you're aware that you want to change it, but you weren't able to change it.
I think trying to change people has been something, not trying to change people, but it's shown up in relationships where I've tried to bring somebody to a certain way or a way that I feel like is better in terms of like positive. So you're doing something that's detrimental to your health and I make a recommendation. Hey, maybe you shouldn't do that thing and maybe you should do a different thing, or maybe you should try this and do this. And I've had to stop myself from understanding that I can't save people. So it's been like a superhero mechanism. Let me come in, save the day, and let me try to save this person from a bad habit, a detrimental habit, or themselves even. And as I still do it sometimes, I lean off the gas pedal because I understand that I can't change a person unless they want to change themselves. And I can't change a person if I can't change myself in that approach or that perspective of not trying to help another person if they don't want to save themselves. So for me, it's been something that I've had to try to change within myself. And it's been very hard because I want to help people. Obviously, I want to create a better humanity. I want to create better humans. I want to create better people. But I've had to come to an understanding that I can't change a person unless they change themselves.
I think you just answered yourself. So being aware of it, that's beautiful. And I've struggled with that for sure too. It's very relatable. But being aware helped you.
Yeah.
You see, it did actually help you. being aware is first. If you just blind eye to it, then you can't change that. And just like you just said, that's why is there a quote, be the change you wish to see in the world, right? Or what's the Rumi quote about that? I thought, I wanted to change the world and then I was wise, so I wanted to change myself. Something like this. I'm paraphrasing. I woke up and I was wise, so I wanted to change the world, but then I realized I was wiser if I want to change myself. Something like this, right? Change myself first, right? So you got to be the example. That's the only thing you're in control of.
Are you a believer in changing yourself or if you want to have better friendships or better relationships or better people in your life, that you have to change yourself? Are you a believer in that that's what you attract? If who you are, that you are a magnet, is that you attract exactly who you are?
I'll tell you. Can I tell you a small little story
Yeah.
about this from this? So there was someone moving to a new town, right? And there was a guy at the gate. And when the people got there, when they moved to the new town, okay, they said, "How's the people in the new town?" And the guy at the gate said, "How's the people where you came from?" And the person who's moving said, "Oh man, it's horrible, loud, noisy, like annoying, and just like selfish, self-centered, don't care." And then the guy at the gate said, "I think you'll find the people to be the same here, actually." And then they went in. And then someone else came at the gate and they asked, how are the people here? And he said, "How are the people from where you came?" "Oh, they were great. They were loving. They were kind, generous." He said, "I think you'll find them to be the same when you come here." So I think that it's how you see the world, right? It's how you see the world and how you see people. Of course, every situation is different. We're talking very general right now, but we're looking at too, what's in your control and what's out of your control. Being the best version of yourself that you can be, changing your habits, being kind, being humble, trying your best to be grateful, positive. For me, developing myself every single day, spiritually, physically, mentally, right? I'm not perfect, just doing my best. And that's the only thing we can do is do our best in that way. And that's the only thing we're in control of. We're not in control. I'm not in control of how you act or how someone else acts, right? But when you develop that too, you can also have the conversations that you need to have. And you can actually, sometimes you might have to move out of a situation. Sometimes you might have to limit someone in your life, of course. But you're in control of changing you. You're not in control of changing other people.
So what's, as somebody who, follows you, as somebody who sees you in this light, what are some things that you struggle with on a day-to-day basis?
I'd say what you just talked about is actually something that I definitely work on. Like, as you're helping people, there's someone who, like, I know what can help them, right? But you can lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink. So watching that is actually very hard. And I'll say this, actually, what comes up for me is just the pain that goes on in the world. I feel that. And it's a heavy burden to carry, because I really feel like there's just so many people suffering. And I was suffering before, very close to suicide. And there's just so many things going on in the world, man. Even like as I'm driving here from New Jersey to Brooklyn, I'm thinking about, like, as I go best, wow, how many people out there like going through addiction issues? How many people, out there, just lost someone they love? And this is just me driving through New York, but how about there's wars going on right now, right? There's people in all kinds of different tough situations that I believe can be changed through a consciousness shift, which is already happening. So I do feel that weight sometimes, but then I realize too, like, there's nothing I'm in control of. Everything is the bigger picture. Just have to surrender to it. But I would say that I feel the weight of the world sometimes.
With the bad stuff that's happening in the world, and with this consciousness shift that you've alluded to the last time we shot, and even as you've talked about this time, there's still a global mental health epidemic that's still present. And I think it would be naive of us to not recognize that and not be aware of that. And something that I think about now is something that I've been seeing on the websites about, like, AI now being incorporated to psychotherapy, or they're trying to make use of psychotherapy in terms of AI, and how that's trying to be a replacement for humans or human connection. And I think it's funny to me to see that, because I don't think that's something that can be replicated. I can't talk to a robot and then, or a chatbot, and have it be the same replication as a human being. And I guess it's just funny to see how the world we're kind of going in, that we're trying to move in that direction in terms of AI. And I'm not sure if you've seen any of those articles, but I guess I would like to know what your thoughts are in terms of how people or companies are trying to incorporate that into psychotherapy?
I think it can be used for good. I do think it can be used for good. I do agree with you that we're humans and we're made from God, the universe, the truth, just as I say, whatever word is best for you. What word is best for you for this conversation? Let's say the universe, I think, for you.
I guess I've been more of a believer in God. I don't know what that looks like, but
Sure.
I do believe that.
So we're all coming from God. We're all creation of God.
Yeah.
So we, even naturally, even scientifically, we need each other, right? That's why there was so much depression during the pandemic too, when we were locked up. We need human to human interaction. Even us interacting on the phone or Zoom is, you feel something different, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that AI can be used for good, for sure. I use AI a lot, and I think that it can actually help you to understand your thoughts if you're really talking to it, and you're really, it's going to get to know yourself, maybe give you some suggestions that you didn't hear of. So I think it's good to learn that. But I also, people haven't even seen the wave of meditation, how it's going to explode. It will take a little bit more time for sure, but during our lifespan, you're going to see, like 50 years from now, I don't know, that's my prediction. Okay. So let me tell you this. We talked about exercise and changing because it's just very comparable. I used to always hear about my great grandmother that she went to the only gym in Philadelphia. I'm from Philadelphia originally. She went to the only gym in Philadelphia. Avi, there was one gym. It's not that long ago. It's my great grandma. One gym in Philadelphia. It's a big city, brother. Why am I telling you this? Now there's a gym everywhere, every corner. You go to the hotel, there's a gym. Your apartment building has a gym. Got it? Why is that? It took a lot of time for that to catch on, man. When they started to know it was good, think about this. If you didn't know anything about how it's good, and then I told you, like, you went to the doctor and you're a little overweight because you were eating too much or whatever, and the doctor told you, okay, eat a little less and walk around the block for 30 minutes every day, right? And then you did it for a week and you're like, dude, I didn't even like change. I don't look any different or anything. He's like, just keep doing it. It would be hard to get the people to do it and actually see that change. But eventually it was undeniable that people could see those changes and the science got behind it, right? So now that's what happens with meditation. That's what happens with meditation. Even someone who did the meditation, I was talking to him and he said, you know, I'm from Texas. My family, really, they didn't know anything about meditation, but actually they all wanted to do meditation after they saw him go from having PTSD to completely changing it. And if you've seen a before and after picture of his face, he's a completely different person. And once his parents saw that, they said, hey, I want to get those benefits. Like, he didn't even tell them like, hey, you should meditate or anything. It goes back to what you were saying before. If you just do what you're supposed to do, then people will follow and change too. But what I'm saying, Avi, is it takes time, but it's gonna, that people realize the benefit, like feeling free, feeling light, having a fresh, clean, new mind, knowing how to refresh your mind. Think about if a room, right? And by the way, we're in the Brooklyn Meditation Center. We didn't even say it, right? So these meditation centers will be everywhere. Thank you so much to Brooklyn Meditation for having us. But what if this room had a bunch of junk and stuff in here? You wouldn't want to meditate here. What if your room had just a bunch of junk everywhere, totally unorganized, right? Is it gonna feel good?
Mm-mm.
Our mind is really like that. And we just like suppress it. Oh, I don't want to feel that. I don't want to think about that. Let me go on the phone. Oh, I don't want to think about that. Let me drink. Oh, I don't want to think about that. Let me just work. Let me eat. We're running away from ourselves. But those who are having the courage to learn how to face themselves, learn how to reflect on themselves as an observer and release and clear and make space within, guess what? Sleep better. Relationships are better. When tough things happen, which they will in life, of course, you're able to handle them better. Yeah.
In your experience and your observation, and shout out to the Brooklyn Meditation Center. I completely forgot to say that. I'm sorry. In your experience and your observation, why do people run away from yourselves? You talked a little bit about it, that they're running away, they're trying to do this, they're trying to do that. Why do they run away? And why don't they face it? I know it's a very simple question, but you might be able to provide a different perspective and a different observation. So I'd like to know, why do people run away?
I think it's being afraid of being uncomfortable. And I think we've all been there. But everything you want is on the other side of fear. And fear is an illusion. You know what fear is? False evidence appearing real.
Mm.
this is not, that's something I heard that I loved when I heard that, right? False evidence appearing real is really an illusion. A real threat is a real threat, right? There's danger, there's threat, but that feeling of fear, right? And that's used to control and manipulate us all the time. So we have fear that you're afraid to go back. You know what it is, Avi, as I think about it right now, as you're telling me, and I'm thinking about the people who I help. People are afraid to go 1 or 2 steps back in order to go 5 steps forward. But it's so worth it. It's more long-term thinking. Right?
That's a good way to put it, because I guess that's sometimes the way that I think about it, is asking myself, what am I running away from? And why am I running away? And I guess I come to the conclusion that I don't want to face whatever I feel, or the emotions that come up with it, or the memories that come up with it. As we were talking about the throwing away the camera, the memories, is that the memories come up with it. And I don't want to experience that again, because I didn't like the feeling that it had over me when I was experiencing that. And then when you kind of relive it, you come to a mind space where I don't want to relive what happened to me. I don't want to put myself in that mindset again. I don't want to put myself in those shoes again, because of how uncomfortable it was to experience that. And I guess we all do it subconsciously on different levels. Sometimes for me, it shows up as working out. It shows up as pushing in the gym really hard, or it shows up as working all the time. And it doesn't show up as just being bored or just sitting with that. And I've been trying to be more bored as of recent, and just not do anything, or not try to stimulate myself in any way. And I guess I found in the pockets that I do find of boredom that I'm thinking about a lot of different things that I probably never thought about before, or just experiencing different things. And I usually experience this when I'm sitting late at night, like laying down. I'm up all day, the thoughts, the emotions are rising to the bottom, like they're falling to my feet. And then when I'm kind of laying down, the thoughts and the emotions, they're kind of just like being towards the forefront of my mind and forefront of my brain, because I don't have that time to do something, because I either have to fall asleep or try to wind myself down. But that's sometimes when I really feel it, is when I'm sitting there late at night trying to fall asleep, is that's when I feel a lot of the emotions or a lot of the thoughts. And hence the reason why sometimes like I have sleeping problems, is because I'm not able to face it at those points in times, or I just want to be able to fall asleep. But I guess I would like your input on that, or your insight is like, for me, how can I be able to kind of overcome that?
I can totally relate. I used to have really bad sleeping issues before I got into this too. But exactly what you just talked about, what I want to say is, those things that you don't want to feel, that you're running away from, those things from the past, it's not about reliving it and going inside it and analyzing it. It's about being able to see it as an observer and release it. And what I also want to say is, it's already there. It's like if you had some ailment in your body, God forbid. If it's there right now, but you go to the doctor tomorrow and they tell you if it's there, it was already there. It's better to know that it's there. Right? Like, and it's also like this. It's just being in denial, running away from ourselves. Let's say there's dog doo-doo over here. Okay, let's say it's right here. All right? There's dog doo-doo here. Then with that dog doo-doo, I put a bunch of paper towels, okay? And then I spray Febreze like super heavy, okay? And then I put something on top of it. And then I clean around the room here. And then fresh room. Is it actually a clean room? I know I'm lying to myself. I know it's there. So the dog doo-doo is what you don't want to feel. You got me? I'm not saying go to that dog doo-doo, get your hands all and smell the dog doo-doo. Like, no, nobody's telling you to do that. What I'm saying is, put the gloves on, okay? Get the stuff off, clean the dog doo-doo. Let's clean that area. It's actually clean. I'm not pretending. I'm not running away from it. I'm not hiding. It's already there. That's what we have to realize. Also, you don't have to go for deepest, darkest things right away. There'll be a time when you're ready. You're very strong, man. You don't go into the gym the first time and try to bench 500 pounds. Right or wrong?
Yeah, I mean, I don't bench 500, but I get the
You're
point.
close, man. I saw you dumbbell pressing 80. So you don't go into the gym first time ever and dumbbell press 80s, right? You need to conquer more simple emotions first. Stop being so hard on yourself. Really conquer the simple emotions. When you look through every day, there's some simple emotions that come up. There's some comparing that comes up. There's some irritation that comes up. There's some dwelling about the future that comes up. There's some procrastination that comes up. Little by little. Learn how to release. Yeah. And something big, it's not going to go away right away. It's going to take, like we said before, you think you let go? Let go more. Stay open and let go. You won't lose anything. You will gain something much, much greater. Letting go is the ultimate.
It's the ultimate.
The ultimate.
I guess something that I'm always curious about and fascinated by is people that, and I've done this in my life, but going for relationships that people that they know that they're not good for, and they keep chasing or going after that pattern or that dynamic because it's familiar. And I think this falls into that realm as well, because it's familiar, because they don't want to face it, or they're not conscious or aware of that they're picking kind of a different person but the same type of partner. And I think that this kind of falls in that category as well, where myself have picked people that we probably knew weren't really good for us, but we chose to be with them anyways, or because of that feeling, or because we didn't want to let go, or because of anything that happened. And we're kind of struggling with that now, where when we find ourselves in this relationship or in this dynamic, that we aren't aware enough to see that this is the exact same carbon copy, just a different face or a different person or a different personality, but it's the same kind of dynamic where they're not able to let go, or they're having a mirror of the same relationship as their parents. And I always find that fascinating, that that's something that we can continue to do, and we can continue to kind of involve ourselves in that environment, knowing that it's not really good for us.
Sure, because you haven't healed those parts of you that need to be healed. Because ultimately, the best thing is to have love from within. I'm a big fan of that one.
Mm-hmm.
Having love and acceptance within yourself, and seeing the things that you need to work on to heal, will help you with that.
Yeah,
for sure.
You talked about ultimate truth, or the truth, or what I found fascinating from our last conversation is I took a deeper dive, and I know that you've studied a lot of religions, and you dabbled in everyone, and you've quoted, you've talked about them, but I've never thought about the ultimate truth and how all of them point towards the same thing. It's kind of like a roadmap. They're all leading to the same destination. And then when I was thinking about that, my mind goes to why do some religions or some people believe that their religion is superior to others? That this is the way. This is the only way to reach the ultimate truth, as you've alluded to. And I guess that's something that I wanted to kind of ask you and talk about is, why does that happen? Like, why, when you were speaking about it, my mind went into, but can't there be multiple truths? Can't the same thing be true in certain aspects and in all aspects? So that's kind of really where I wanted to go into is, why do all of these religions that point to the same destination, why do some people deem them as superior and not superior?
Because of the human mind, point blank. Exactly because of the human mind. That it just takes a picture of what belongs to the world and makes it its own, and that's the only thing we know. One of the best things I like about, we're same generation, but your generation or younger generation, one of the derogatory words that they use, I really like. I don't like derogatory words, Avi, but this one I like. Bot. They call people a bot or an NPC, non-playable character. Means like they're one of the characters in the game Right? Explain it to the old heads. One of the characters in the game that, they're just like in the background, so they don't have any control, right?
Mm-hmm.
They just live based off what they're programmed. And it's actually funny. My meditation teacher has talked for a long time. Humans are just like a robot. So literally, we just act based off what we took in. And I used to think about this all the time when I was a kid. That's what made me interested about religions, because I didn't grow up religious. I was like, wait, if I was just born in Iran to a Muslim family, I would just be Muslim. Oh, if I was just born in India to a Hinduism family, I would just believe that, right? Like, we don't control that part, right? And then we just take it as so much as like, oh, like I'm right because this is who I was born as, right? That's not how it is. And look, these are all my beliefs, but I really have such a firm belief that there's one ultimate truth, as we call it. When we say truth, some people don't know that term. What I'm talking about is not just like true and false. Truth meaning the existence that existed forever before is here right now, no matter what, will be here forever after. Even if the earth was gone, even all the planets, everything, that existence, that space that's in between me and you right now, that's within us, that's filling this whole room, we are all coming from that. So let me give you this example. Can I give you an example?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen when you melt gold and you make it into figures?
Mm-hmm.
You've seen this? So let's say we melt gold and we make it into figures. Okay. Here's people and elephants and dogs, whatever. And then we paint them. Let me paint one white and paint one black and Asian, Spanish, put on different things and maybe put different religions of them and paint the elephants and all that. And then we can't see that it's gold, right? But it's all gold. It's all coming from the same source. Does this make sense? We are all coming from God. This is in all the religions too, that God is within you. Okay, this is in Old Testament, New Testament, Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam. God is within you. You are coming from that, but we're confused that we're living as this bot instead. And shout out to my friend Al, who told me this is the great thing about going on meditation retreats. One of the best thing is going on meditation retreats, the conversations that you have. My friend Al was telling me that story about proving that everything is God. Does it make sense? And even scientifically, when they break us down, even materially, we're made of the same exact makeup as the universe, as the stars, as the earth. I'm not a scientist, but if you watch like Neil deGrasse Tyson, like you're made of hydrogen and oxygen, right?
Yeah. And then when I think about that is when you said if you were born in India, you'd probably be Hindu. And when I look at my life and what I was born into, I could see how a person could be conformed to that, conform to that religion or their environment that they're exposed to. And I guess it takes certain individuals to understand, or not even just understand, but be curious about, well, do I really believe in this? Is this something that I truly believe in? And I wouldn't consider myself like I don't know, I guess I was just curious. Is this something that I believe in? That's the first question I asked myself. Does this feel right? Do I feel authentic to myself? Could I, or is there another solution to this answer? Or is there more questions that I have within myself to kind of identify with a certain religion or belief system? And it's funny to see how whether some people like it or not, that they live within this and they don't question or have a lot of questions for it. And I mean, listen, whatever is for you, and that's your belief system. But I think sometimes the question is more important than the answer. Like asking yourself, like, is this something that I even believe in, or do I want to be involved in this belief system, or have I just been thrown this and now I kind of have to adjust or have to conform to it?
I think that there's truth and false within everything. There's the ego and the false self within everything. This is also in every religion. So I have a lot of empathy for people who grew up religious. I didn't grow up religious in that way, right? So I have a lot of empathy for what they go through. And I think though there's truth and falseness still. So I can be people who are in the religion, still there's truth and falseness. There's those true principles in all of them, right? So if I'm really like genuinely, whatever religion it is, Judaism, Christianity, Hinduism, if I'm genuinely trying to become a better person to help this world become a better place, you know, really thinking about like, how can I help? How can I be of service, right? Like the main principles of all the religions, being thankful for this life, and how can I help? How can I serve in this kind of way? I think, and staying open, it can eventually lead them in the right time to at least freedom, right? Freedom is what we're looking for. It can lead them to find truth within. And a lot of people are, as you get to know them, it's very few and far in between people who think this is the only way. I really do think that. It's becoming less and less. Like we do see a lot of intermingling of religions and talking to each other. You see like meetings of like, you know, rabbis and priests and monks like coming together and talking and things like this. You know, this is something that I study. So this is I think the ultimate goal, the ultimate purpose of religion is to really go and live in the true world.
Yeah.
Right? It's all the same, and to find God within.
How do we find those answers though? Which is something that I've been struggling with. Is that, and I've kind of, this has been a question that I've asked recently a lot, but trying to find those answers within the universe, within God, within that we're going on this right path, that we're following in the light, that we're following ourselves, or as we talked about last episode, trusting in the journey, or believing that you're moving in the right space. And that's something that like I kind of struggle with, is believing that where I'm going is in the right direction, because there's no answer, or there's no definitiveness. And you're kind of, this is one of those games where you're not selling a product, so you don't know how many sales you're making. Your value is based off the videos that you're making, and how many views it gets, and how many likes it gets, and how many followers you have. And that's how you'll be able to be seen further. And for me, at least, that's a struggle that I currently have, is like trying to understand that I'm still moving in that right direction and still going in that right path. And there's constant hesitation, and there's constant doubt, and there's constant back and forth about, man, I really don't want to do this today, but I have to get up and do it because I know that my future self is going to thank me for it. And just because I'm feeling this way doesn't mean that it's going to define the destination or the place that I want to end up. But I would be lying to you if I said that that's not something that I struggle with, is despite what it seems on social media that I have it figured out, or everything is that I seem like I'm in the ultimate place, that there's still that doubt. There's still that I don't want to get up and I don't want to do it. Or before every podcast, I still have this hesitation within my mind, or this doubt about, is this going to go well? Am I prepared enough? Am I going to create a good video? Is this going to be a good episode? Like, there's still all these thoughts that just race, that constantly I trick myself out of, because of this belief that either, number one, I don't feel like I'm good enough, or number two, that I struggle in the conversations that I have with the universe, with God, that I can't hear anything. It's not even about talking, it's about hearing. I can't hear anything. And it's all in the results. Everything is in the results. And that's just something that I kind of struggle with, is that thought, or that idea of, because I have those conversations, I'm not hearing anything.
I think you know a lot more. Thank you so much for letting that out, man. I hope that really, even just letting it out, I hope that relieves some of the burden that you carry, man. I'm sorry that you're carrying that burden. I think it's totally normal, and it makes you very relatable too. I love the quote that you can't connect the dots going forward, you can only connect them going backwards, from Steve Jobs. It's just so true. So just keep being the best person you can be, and you know more than you think. Okay? So even right now, let's try this, all right? I want you to just relax yourself. You don't have to close your eyes or anything. Just really relax yourself within yourself. And I want you to ask yourself, if I was my own best friend, what's the advice that I would give myself right now? And really open yourself up. And not from Avi, but come outside yourself. Like you were like an amazing friend. Like someone who really wants the best for you, cares about you. What would you tell yourself right now? What comes up for you?
That you do a lot more than you think. That you're a lot more blessed than you think. That you're a lot more like, you have a lot more going for yourself than you think. You know, like that. It's funny, man, that's probably what I would tell somebody else, and like telling myself is that you're grateful for a lot more than you give yourself credit for. And you're doing a lot more than a lot of people would be doing at your age.
Brother, everything is expectations. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Even when I was coming here today, Abby, I was like, man, how grateful it is to be able to do this, that we live in this era. Like I was thinking about, I was coming from Jersey to Brooklyn, which these days is not a big deal. But I was thinking about like, what if this was like what if I was born super long time ago? Like if I had to take a trip from Jersey to Brooklyn, like I don't even like, how do you even get there? Like on like a horse and buggy, like, or like, you know, I was thinking about this. I'd have to pack like all my stuff and we wouldn't be able to like film and shoot content. Like that's what we're doing today. Like with a friend, like it's so cool. That's so thankful. Like even just have a cup of coffee, you know, that was given to you by Pam, like grateful in the small things. And of course those thoughts are going to come, but doing the work, continual work of cleansing that mind, the human mind, I'm telling you, it's a lie. And you will never be satisfied no matter what you get. Has there been billionaires who have committed suicide? That should be it. It should be end of discussion. Whatever you think, like likes or views or any of these, or money or whatever kind of things like this that you think are going to make that feeling go away, it's not. It's not going to go away. Please don't wait to allow yourself to be happy. And if you work on subtracting is the answer, just like you already said. I'm not even the one who said it. Subtracting, letting go of those negative thinking patterns, of all the past doesn't even exist anymore. So it can be truly here and now. And live here and now.
I think it's just, and I don't know, and I mean, a lot of people could probably relate to this, but I don't know why. I don't know why that happens. I don't know why. I know it subconsciously or unconsciously about that I'm doing a lot more. And other people probably feel the same way about their life, that they're doing a lot more than the average person would. But it's never enough. It's never that fulfilling thing. And especially when I hear people that want to become, you know, podcast hosts or creators, I don't think people really understand what that comes with. Is that every day you're going to be misunderstood. Every day that you're trying to chase this dream that you had that only you can see. There's nobody else that can see this path. And every day you have to pour into it. And every day you have to believe in yourself. And even on the days that you don't believe in yourself and you're faking this confidence, that you still have to push forward. Because regardless of what the circumstances are, and if this place that you really, really want to get to is this place that you desire, then it comes with a cost. And that cost is being away from family. It's being away from your friends. It's missing out on a lot of things. It's telling people I'm busy. I can't do this today. It's waking up early. It's missing out on the times that you want to have fun in terms of like whatever that fun is to you. But I think that's a lot of misconceptions, and probably you can understand this as well, is that the sacrifice that you have to make within yourself to really get to the place that you really want to be.
For sure. And we talked about it last time. 1% podcast. You put it on yourself, man. And being humble is the biggest gift you can ever have. If you're not humble in this life, you're done. You're not going to be happy. And people misunderstand. You can be humble and confident at the same time. But Avi, you're amazing. You came here, you're setting up all the lights, setting up all the cameras, right? If you just from the bat already had money and you already hired someone to do all that, you would take it for granted. You'd be complaining about something else. Now, eventually, when it gets bigger or whatever you do, if somebody else is doing it, you're going to be so thankful and you're going to treat them very well. It's just all trust the plan. Have unwavering trust in the universe's plan for you. And just wake up every day and do the best that you can do. But in order to actually change the mind, we have to work, because there's a lot of pre-programming and conditioning that's making you think that way from your life, right? From your childhood, from how your parents were, from your elementary school, things that happened, tests and this. It didn't start today. That feeling of not being enough, that feeling of I'm not doing enough, right? In basketball and everything. It's from your whole life. So you need to really, if you work on releasing all of that, then bit by bit, you'll start to get stronger. And one thing I want to ask you though, you're well put together, brother. How much time do you think in a day you take to take care of your outside, your body? You got to shower, right? You got to groom yourself, right? You got to get dressed. You go to the gym. Do you think that your body is more important than your mind?
No.
But you don't? Wow. Because some people would say, hey, maybe it's like this much, but wow, you're very wise. Body and mind, right? For me, it's mind, body. That's like the unlock. If you came even close, think about how much time you take for your mind to subtract, to cleanse, to let go. If it's even close to equal, you will feel a lot better. I promise you. But you're not taking enough time to work on your inner world.
Yeah.
That's the balance that we forget about. And then we wonder why we're not in a good place mentally.
Yeah, I think about it. I don't nearly spend, like, it's hard. It's, for whatever reason, I don't do 5 minutes of meditation every day. I told you before, as we were coming over here, that early in the morning when I'm on the wake up going to the internship, is that I do spend that time, but that's only like 3 days a week. And imagine if I spend like 7 days a week, 30 minutes a day, 45 minutes a day, an hour a day. Imagine how much different that would be. But then I wonder about the people that are in a different circumstance in terms of depression. And that's happened to me, depression. And sometimes it's the depression that you have is clinical. And sometimes it's, yeah, you can meditate, but sometimes there's nothing that you can really do about it because it's a brain chemistry in your mind. And then I wonder about those people that are chronically anxious or chronically depressed. How can they combat that? Because that's not, you can't go into your brain and just, like a mechanic and rewire certain things. What about people that are like that? Or maybe that they're depressed and they don't really know that they're depressed. Or, yeah, I guess maybe that they don't know that they're depressed and they're just going through the motions.
From the research that I've done and from what I've seen, I don't believe that to be 100% true. Meaning that they can't, what you said about that, it's fixed. Because we now know through neuroplasticity, you can change your brain, actually. So I think that, have you ever heard, and this, I have a lot of empathy. Let me say first, depression, anxiety, it's horrible. I had waking up with anxiety, depression, really close to suicide. And I'm not saying many people have way worse depression and anxiety than I had. But I 100% believe that anyone can heal it. Anyone can heal it. Okay? But it's going to take time, patience, and perseverance. It's the same as someone who's super overweight. If they have really bad metabolism, maybe they have a back issue, like let's say somebody's really overweight and then they're actually wheelchair bound. Is that going to be harder for them to get in good physical shape than for you if you got out of good physical shape?
Yeah.
It's going to be harder. So it's a harder circumstance, but it doesn't mean that they can't lose weight. Doesn't mean they can't do something. They could do dips on the wheelchair or something. Do you know what I'm saying? Whether you believe you can or you can't, you are right. That is a fact. The power of the mind is unbelievable. And there's nothing the universe, the truth, cannot heal. And unfortunately, we've been told these kind of things, Abi. that like that's just the way it is, that's how you're going to be. That's what the world wants you to think, brother. They want you on it's proven now that SSRIs don't even work, which is antidepressant medication. There's so many, look it up, endless studies. It's been on the front of Time magazine about that. This is not even like small news. Works the same as placebos. Exercise is stronger. And I'm not saying like if you need medication, you should take it for sure, and don't just stop taking your medication. But SSRIs mainly is like, it's total just nonsense and about money, in my opinion. And it's not working on the root cause of the issue. Brother, if I got shot, right, and I have a bullet hole in my arm, right? How about if when I go to the hospital, they just say, oh, that's in there. Okay, we're going to bandage up. It's going to heal on top of the bullet. That bullet's going to be painful. So you're going to need to take this pain medication so you don't feel your arm. Okay? For the rest of your life, you're going to have to take it. We might have to increase the dose because the pain's going to get, a little stronger. Right? Would that make sense? Or would it make sense to say, hey, you got a bullet in your arm. You need some medication now because the pain's crazy. Let's take that bullet out. And then your arm's going to heal. And then after the arm heals, then we can go off the medication. Which one makes more sense? The first one or second?
Second.
And if I'm working person by person, I'm going to give different advice. I have empathy for whatever anyone is going through. But I do not believe what you said about not being able to change depression and anxiety. And definitely what we talked about in the beginning too, it can be inherited traumas too. But even that can be healed. Even that can be healed. There's a lot of science now. This isn't just spiritual woo-woo that you can inherit depression, anxiety, ways of reacting to things. This is extensively studied. This is science now. But guess what? You can change it. You can heal it.
What's a question that you're still trying to find an answer for?
I've tried my best to surrender to all questions, for real. Like, have you ever seen, one of my favorite memes is the universe handing, like, there's two people at a desk, and then the kid's getting like the note from behind him, and the person behind him it's like the universe, and then he's getting the note, and it says, be comfortable not knowing. Like the note says, the universe is giving him a note, like in school, be comfortable with not knowing. Like that's like a really popular meme. The universe is telling you, be comfortable with not knowing. So being comfortable with not knowing is the best. But I would say, if it's anything, Abby, okay, I'll answer your question. It is when. When exactly is the world going to awaken? Because I feel all the pressure, and I think there's just a lot of things that are going to happen in our lifespan. And already a lot of things are happening, but I think I can feel this awakening happening, that when are we going to go from division to unity? I know that it's happening, but that's a question sometimes is when, the timeline of it.
Yeah. The when is the biggest question. And that's a question that I often ask myself too, is like, when does everything come together? But I feel it in a different sense. Like, when does everything work out? When does... And I've been better, because even in last episode, you said that I've written my own destiny within the podcast about becoming 1% better, that it's going to be the one night sensation. And that's a question that I also struggle with, is when. Not only just when does this podcast become successful, or I believe that it already is, but when does all the stresses or the worries that I have, when does it come together? When does everything start to kind of like, And obviously that's doing more work on my mind than my body, and that's doing a lot of more work behind the scenes. But nonetheless, those questions still arise, is that when does everything come together?
I totally understand, brother. But I hope that you surrender to, I want it to come together at the time that it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Not now, not fast, not when I want it. Surrender. And what you touched on before, gratitude for what you do have.
Mm-hmm.
You're definitely about to hit a G on YouTube soon, right? And you're doing great, man. I mean, look at all you've done, and you got an internship, Fox 5, all these things. Brother, time goes like this. 5 years ago was 2020. So 2030, you're going to be in a total, you keep doing the best you can. Then 2030, you'll be in a different place. 2035, you'll be in a different place. Look, we're not promised tomorrow, so we have to surrender to the universe's plan and not our plan. That's when we have peace.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we have peace. Right? That's even the whole message of Jesus, one of the main ones. Not by my will, but by your will, even when he's dying. Right? So we can all learn from that. I'm not regarded as Christian, but I'm just giving an example.
Mm-hmm.
I learned from Jesus too. Not by my will, but by your will. The universe, right? God.
There's something that I think about a lot and often. It's as I read this the other day it was a quote by John Steinbeck, but I'm paraphrasing it, is that we believe that we know other humans. I want to look up the quote. Hold on. I'm going to look it up real quick.
Sure.
Because I want to be able to tell you, because I wrote it down. Let me see. John Steinbeck. Knowing humans. Because I think it's an incredible quote. No man really knows about another human. The best he can do is suppose that they are like himself. No man really knows about other humans, other human beings. The best he can do is suppose that they are like himself. And something that I think about, and something that was asked to me, and I asked somebody else, is that nobody ever really truly knows who we are unless we share that. Because when we put our head down at night, we really know ourselves. And I find that, I don't find it jarring, but I do find it interesting that no human being knows us, but we just kind of have an understanding that they are somewhat like us, as we are all somewhat interconnected in a way. That I don't know, when I think about that, when I thought about that quote, that it kind of put me in like a, damn, that's kind of lonely, because nobody ever truly knows who you are. They just have an idea or perspective about you, or perception, but they never truly know who you are.
No doubt. As you were saying it, I was like, wow, that's very lonely. The way that you were putting it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that human mind world is the most lonely thing ever. Why? I'm the only one who has it. I'm the only one inside that world. The Alvi character that you created inside your mind, nobody else has in the entire world, for sure. So you're in your own world with the own self. Is a really lonely place. But if we seek to get out of that world, come to the present moment, we can see that we're all interconnected. And if we seek also to understand versus wanting to be understood, you will find yourself being less lonely, for sure, genuinely. And you are like that, right? You host a podcast and ask questions. When you genuinely get to know people, you don't make assumptions on them. You don't make judgments on them. And you try to understand versus only wanting to be understood. That's how that works. And then you can be less lonely, and you can feel less like, oh, no one understands me. Of course no one understands you. No one has your life lived and all those things, right?
Or the mind that you have, or
yeah, no one else has.
The thoughts that you have. I guess that's why sometimes the perception of artists, it can be, for example, like Vincent van Gogh, a lot of his paintings are very depressing. You can kind of see in the what he painted, or the strokes that he made with his paintbrush, and the different types of paintings that he made, how depressed he really was. And then I wonder back now to even before John Steinbeck, Marcus Aurelius, or Seneca, that are coming up with all these incredible thoughts or incredible philosophies, how they must feel. That they're coming up with these outlandish ideas or philosophies, but they spend so much time writing about them and journaling them in hopes of other people understanding them, or in hopes of other people relating to them. And that's kind of like a very depressing thing to think about, is that meditations is basically Marcus Aurelius's journals that maybe he didn't share with anybody else. And now into the world, it's very, wow, this guy was actually brilliant, you know? Or even Elon Musk, sometimes when you watch whoever's watching this, whatever it is, just hearing him talk. And I remember it was a Joe Rogan interview, and he talked about how he just never goes to sleep, or how he rarely goes to sleep, or how people don't really understand him, and how he's very misunderstood in a way. And then it presses the idea of, when you're at this level of intelligence, or you're at this level of awareness, or you create these certain thoughts or ideas or innovations, that when you get to that top, it feels like it's the top and nobody's there to understand you. And then I guess that's where I kind of relay this quote, is that people have a perception of you, or perspective of you, that you're this incredible person, but they don't actually understand or get to know you or know who you are. So that's just something that I think about and often ponder upon. And I don't know if you have any thoughts about that, but it's something that I think about a lot.
I think it's okay to not want to be understood. It's okay. And it's all in the right timing. Marcus Aurelius, that book helps a lot of people. It was meant to be that way. It wasn't meant to get popular during that time. That's what I believe. I believe everything is beshert. I believe everything is meant to be.
Yeah. Yeah, how much time do we have? Running out. Yeah, running out. It's about to be 5.
Because they have a session at 5, so we have to get the stuff out.
Oh, okay. Last question. This is from Stephen Bartlett's book, of one of his questions that he asked. He asked Jordan Peterson this question: if I was to ask you a perfect question, what would that be? If I was to ask you a question that you haven't thought of, or you've been thinking of, or if I was to ask you a question, in this case, when he asked him, it was, how are you? It's just simple as that. That, for example, if I could ask you a question, what would that be?
We already touched on it, but where are the answers that I'm looking for? And the answer is, they're within. They're within. That's my main message. The answer that you are looking for, you, me, everyone in the world, is within. We just have to let go of the blockages.
Is that something that you struggled with?
That I struggled with?
Yeah.
For sure. I was looking for the answers on the outside. I struggled with addiction, and I struggled with bad sleep issues, anxiety, depression, all those things. And I thought that the outside conditions were going to help me to ease that pain. But it wasn't until I realized, I need to cleanse my mind. And I learned how to cleanse my mind. And that's what changed everything. And I realized, all the answers are within. And as I studied all the religions, wow, man, how do all of them say that? It's not like Jesus was like, hey, Buddha, make sure you tell the people the answers are within, call them up on the phone. First off, they were in different time periods, right? Both saying answers are within. Old Testament saying answers are within. Hinduism saying answers are within. God is within. All of them saying the answers are within. So what I'm telling you is the answers you're looking for are within. We just need to let go of all the blockages. And if you've I've been looking, I've been trying, you might have just tried something that didn't work for you yet. And, what helped me is the practice that I do. I'm so thankful to be here in the Brooklyn Meditation Center. Also, shout out onlinemeditationevents.com. I actually didn't realize I have it on my coat. I don't know if you can see. Onlinemeditationevents.com. You can find free live Zoom class. And Abi, man, you are so blessed, and thank you so much. You are the man. You are so sincere, and you're really guided. That's what I feel from you. You're really, really guided. That's how you have a lot of people around you who care about you, actually. Really, you have a lot of good people around you too. That's because you carry yourself very sincere and with good intentions. Keep moving sincere and with good intentions. It doesn't matter what anyone else around you acts like, okay? Keep moving good with sincere intentions and get 1% better every day. That's it.
True. Blake, as I do have more questions for you, I know there will be an inevitable part 3, but we are running out of time here. I just want to say thank you for not only coming on this podcast, but thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a mentor, somebody that I could call, as I don't really have many of those in my life, and being able to just say what's truly on my mind, and without fear of judgment. I know that you'll be there and give me the truth, as we've been saying a lot in this episode, that I need to hear, and providing me the space to genuinely express what I feel. And I mean, you've done that in this podcast, and I hope my answers or questions or your responses have helped a lot of people. But I just want to say thank you for that, because I don't really have that, and you mean a great deal to me. So I think that you should know that, and I want to give you your flowers as well. So thank you.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much.
So anybody listening, if you made it this far, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for showing support. Thank you guys for showing love. This is the 1% Podcast. Blake, thank you again.